All right, students, here we go. We're going to be looking at area of triangles today, or specifically how to find the area of a triangle. And I'm going to start us off with the formula for area of a triangle. Kind of like for rectangle, you'd find the length times the width. For parallelograms, last time we looked at base times height to find the area of a parallelogram. To find the area of a triangle, we're going to be taking area equals base times height divided by 2. One rule on this, in that base and height always have to be perpendicular, meaning they always have to be a 90-degree angle or form a 90-degree angle. And I have a little illustration for you right over here. The idea that base and height in a triangle, if we double that triangle, we actually form a rectangle. So then if we take the rectangle and divide it by 2, we're back to just a triangle. So that's kind of the whole idea, the whole proof behind the area of triangle formula, is that if you make 2 of them form a rectangle, find the area of the whole thing, and then cut off one section, you have just the triangle that you're looking for. Area of that triangle is left. So area of triangle equals base times height divided by 2. I've also seen formulas such as 1/2 base times height. That's fine, you can use that as well, half the base times the height, or half the height times the base. It all works out in the end based on commutative property. But I like this one pretty much the best, especially if it's not making a lot of sense. You can always go back to, say, base times height divided by 2. Make the whole rectangle or parallelogram, and then divide it by 2 to get back to the triangle. Here's a quick lesson in height and base. Base is always perpendicular to height, so you might see that height is inside the triangle. Base is always perpendicular to height. You might see the height actually outside the triangle. And then base is always perpendicular to height. They might actually be sides of the triangle, kind of like down here. We'll call this base, this height. You could actually call this base and this height and get the same answer. Find the perpendicular measurements, multiply them, and then divide by 2. Pretty simple today. Let's look at area of this first triangle. We have base and height being divided by 2. So let's start with our formula. Area equals base times height divided by 2. I'm going to call area 13, height 6, and we'll divide it by 2. You can use a calculator on this too if you want. Just make sure your answers are correct. Just to show you the correct way, we'll go 13 times 6 and divide it by 2 to get 39. Couple little, I don't want to say shortcuts, but they are kind of shortcuts, I guess. By the way, feet squared is your label, so area equals 39 feet squared. I said shortcuts. I could divide 6 by 2 and get 3. That's kind of like a cross-canceling idea, basically. And then 39 would be 3 times 13. You could even divide 13 by 2 and then multiply by 6 to get your answer. I don't know if there's any advantage to that. But that's kind of some shortcuts in there. So if you see one of them will divide by 2, you can do that and then multiply. Let's look at another example real quick. I have this right triangle here. And in this case, the perpendicular sides are 2.5 and 7. It's not going to change much. We're going to use the same formula and the same idea to find area. So area equals base times height divided by 2. Area equals 2.5 times 7 divided by 2. So in this case, I mean, you could divide 7 by 2 and get 3.5 and then go times 2.5, but it's probably just easiest to say multiply the top and then divide by 2. So let's go 2.5 times 7 is 17.5, and then divided by 2 is 8.75. So area equals 8.75. Label centimeters squared, or square centimeters. That's going to do it for area of triangles. Email me if you need some help. I'm happy to help. You can private comment me as well on Google Classroom. Let me know. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching.